Lagi yung umiinom dyan sa Bahay Kawayan. Ay, wala na ngayon yun eh. Hindi nyo na alam yun.
What's Bahay Kawayan?
Before kasi there was Bahay Fast Food. And ang specialty nun, steak.
Okay.
Pero pork steak yon. Pero tawag namin steak. And then beside it is Bahay Kawayan. Yun naman, we'd have sizzling tapa, sizzling spaghetti. Diba? May sizzling spaghetti. Tapos,
Sizzling spaghetti.
oo, doon yung inuman. Yung inuman doon. Yan yung mga, ano ko eh, lakotsero ko eh. So, oo.
That's why you ended up in sales.
Oo nga, kasi gusto ko ayoko na lagi sa klase naglalakwatsa ako. Pero ano na naman, parang, raise na sa akin mga klase ko, sabi ko, pati yan, lagi absent, lagi hindi na mag-aaral. Pero pagdating ng exam daw,
You nail it, you ace
maganda
it.
yung, hindi alam, mag-aaral naman kasi ako eh. Nag-aaral ako sa bahay, in my own. Pag di lang nakikita yon, di ba, nag-aaral naman talaga ako. Tapos pumapasok ako, wala akong notebook, wala akong libro. Yun. Yung wala. Tapos,
Someone told me it's very Lasallian also. Yung work hard pero play hard.
play hard.
Oo.
Alam mo yung Katleya notebook natin? Meron pa ba ngayon nun?
Oo, Katleya.
Oo, may Katleya notebook ko noon. Pero papasok ako, walang laman. Walang notes. Nakikinig lang ako. Tapos pag naiintindihan ko na, okay na yon.
Social ka nun, Katleya notebook mo.
Ay, oo. Ay, social. Pangmayaman ba yun? Hindi.
Hindi kami, I cannot afford.
Ang binipili ko lang isa. Hindi naman yung buong may binder pa eh. Isa lang.
Correct. Okay, isa lang.
Tapos walang laman, kaya matipid. Diba? Ayun, yun.
Magamit next term.
Oo, tapos pagka exam na, papazirox lang.
Did you have baon or was it?
Money ba?
Money.
50 pesos ang baon.
Oh, that was a lot na.
Oo nga eh. Pero nung first job ko, yung kapatid ko na naglasal din. 4 years my junior. Eh yung baon niya, pareho nung sweldo ko eh. Ganun kalit yung sweldo. Pero yun, tama yun. Lakwatsa. Photocopy ko lang yung mga notes nila pagka mag-exam na. Yung mga ganun.
Hi everyone, campus life is that part of your life that you'll relive in your memories until you breathe your last. And we're here again for Decades La Salle, the podcast, and I'm Lian. For today's podcast episode, we have an industry titan who has had numerous stints in all of the telco companies and finally in media. He started off in Philippine Appliance Corporation and then later would take on leadership roles in Globe, Digital, Smart, and Cignal, most recently being the president and CEO of Cignal and TV5. Everyone, please welcome Mr. Robert Galang.
Thank you, Mariel. Thank you. Hello to everyone.
Sir Robert, this podcast is aimed to, of course, recall the past.
Okay.
You know, reminisce about life in La Salle as a student. It's okay if matagal na. And of course, we want to inspire the present generation of Lasallians and hopefully encourage also a new generation to choose La Salle. I would love to start off with, how was it like when you were here? What was a typical day here in De La Salle for you?
First, I'd say that it was the 3 years and 1 term I stayed here in dlsu. They were really fun. Apart from learning, it was fun because I'd hang out with friends in between classes, and sometimes when we have long breaks, we'd go out. Sometimes we'd even go to Tagaytay or Makati. It was during our time when the first McDonald's in Makati was open. So
Okay.
that was a long time ago.
Place.
And then we were able
What
to go
year
there.
was this? So we can share with the audience listening or watching.
Sa Lasal from 1983 to 1986. Ayun. And I still know my ID number.
You still know your ID number.
It should be a
It's
LaSalle
very
thing,
LaSalle
right?
thing. Like we
Yeah.
always ask, what's your ID number, no? To
Yes.
start off a conversation.
Yes, it's 8312281. I've lost my ID, but the number stays.
Same. Mine was 130,239.
Wow. Ang layo
Year
ng gap.
2000. It's still. And your time here was quite the historic one also for the Philippines. I mean,
Yes.
the early 80s. But yeah, what was the perception of a Lasallian at the time? Was it like, puro mga mestizo, mestiza, or...
Not really. Well, it's a mix of different people. Yes, you would have the mestizos and mestizas, but you have like students from all over the country, especially from the other La Salle schools, like in Bacolod. And what it was, you mentioned a while ago that it was 83 to 86, very eventful. That was
Very,
also
yeah.
when we had EDSA, and I remember when I was sitting here in La Salle, there would be rallies or not really protests, but with sometimes
Student
we even walked to Liwasan Bonifacio. We were the Lasallian contingent got there, and then when we got there was a sea of red flags, so we went home. So, but it was also EDSA, and we participated in EDSA. It was a good thing that our parents allowed us at that time. It was fun. It was fun. How was it? We'd study hard, but we'd also go out. We'd have parties. We'd have like social events and other things.
Very well-rounded.
Yeah, very well-rounded. Lasallian would be exactly well-rounded, diligent with studies, but how to have fun. I would describe Lasallians as not just smart but street smart.
I love that. I hear that a lot too.
Street smart. Resourceful, maabilidad, diba? And very practical in view of things. The Lasallians are usually or generally very sociable, very likable.
Marunong makisama.
Very down to earth, and great at interacting with people. So yeah, and that's I guess how I would describe a Lasallian. It's so many different aspects, but very well-rounded and very down to earth and smart.
I'm glad you mentioned that, Sir Robert, because of course I have to touch on your very storied career.
Yeah, okay.
And it's all, leadership roles. And of course, it begs the question, what was it about maybe being Lasallian that helped you across all of those roles and all of those corporations, giant corporations, where you really have to be able to manage and work well with all sorts of people?
Well, I guess I had a certain advantage. I'm not sure if it applies now, but before when you'd apply for a job and you'd look at the classified ads, they say preferably from the three schools. So I guess that was an advantage when I got my first job. And my first job was in Philippine Appliance Corporation as a marketing assistant or salesperson. And I guess that the training, the disciplines developed in La Salle helped. When you say you'd have to be able to interact with people. You'd have to, be very sociable.
Bring out the best in them too.
Yeah,
diba?
yeah, and that helped me with my sales career because my jobs in the different companies were really sales and distribution roles. First job in Philocor, I was handling North Central Luzon area. I was young, a fresh grad, and I would even commute going to. We didn't have cars then. I mean, if you start working, you're not given a company car until you reach a manager position. So you compute to the Ilocos, bus sa Central Luzon, and your boss would tell you go there, and he won't even teach you how to go there. So again, you have to be smart, creative, resourceful, and you'd have to find your way and have no hang-ups. Ayon, walang area, walang yabang pag Lasallian So, no hang-ups. You do everything and anything, for to do your work, well. Yeah. So that helped. The being from La Salle was just a way to enter. It made it probably easy to enter a company, but to be able to stay and to progress in your career, that would really rely on character that and the skills that have been developed over the years, and the Lasallian education, the high quality that it has helped a lot. Yeah.
You're right, because in the recent years, there's been a trend towards mental health in the workplace, the importance of soft skills also in
Yes.
managing up and managing down.
Yes.
And I think those are, trendy catchphrases now, but it's something that has always been the case.
Yeah.
I mean, you can't really rise in corporate if you're not able to work with people, bring out the best in them,
Correct.
diba? And I think you are proof positive.
We didn't have words for before. We didn't have words like that.
Diba wala? Yeah, it was just
Even EQ we didn't use, but EQ was I just discovered it's very important. And but you were already exercising or exhibiting good EQ, but
correct.
you just didn't have a name for it.
Lalo na sa sales because
Yes.
I think of all of the, I guess, departments in a corporation, I find sales is the one that really is the most democratic and where you're never just going to be in an armchair. You really have to go out
Yes, and
there. You have to be in the front lines. You have to meet with the people selling your product or services.
And I enjoyed it so much. So that was like my almost my entire working career. Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. Well, and of course, I'm curious too, because the telco industry has changed so much, in the last few years, not alone decades, no? So how has it been from your perspective as a leader in those corporations? What were the things or shifts that you saw? Not just, of course, with the arrival of the internet and then now high speed, now e-commerce, and now AI, but what has been like the most meaningful shifts that you've seen?
I joined Telco in 1994. So I spent 7 years in the consumer durables industry. And I was very fortunate when I joined Telco. It was at that time when it was being liberalized. The market was open to new players. It was also the time when we introduced GSM, because before mobile communications was analog, and we were the first to introduce. Well, I don't know if it's debatable. Whether it's Islacom or Globus. It started with GSM first, but yeah, we introduced GSM, which is a new technology then. So it was a game changer. As I don't know if you recall, but we were the first. Well, one of the first countries to have two-way text messaging. We were even ahead than the United States.
We're
And
number one in texting.
Yeah, and when we did that, it changed the
SMS.
way people communicated. And we became the texting capital of the world, right? And it was really a game changer because as we introduced cell phones then, we democratized it. We made it affordable and accessible to everyone. Before it was, when you have a cell phone, you say mayaman yan, mayaman yan. But during that time, we distributed it to the mass market. So it was a real enabler. It allowed people and businesses to communicate with each other more effectively, more efficiently. So it was a big contributor to nation building, and that's my belief that we should as individuals contribute to nation building, and Telco was doing exactly that. Now, what I can say about Telco in the Philippines is that we are at the forefront. We are not being left behind. We are right now. We have 5G. We are rolling out and continuing to roll out our 5G networks the same pace as other more advanced countries. We have fiber. Now we have satellite internet. It was a service that was introduced by Cignal as well. So we were not just pay TV, but also we were into satellite and are into satellite internet. So the Philippines is at pace with the rest of the world, and it has helped people really to communicate and well with each other. But there's also that risk that as we introduce new technologies, we hope that these technologies would help enrich lives, enrich relationships, and not pull us apart.
Correct,
Because
oo.
if you allow technology to enslave you, then it's not a tool anymore. It will, you don't know it, but instead of bringing people together,
I'm
technology
glad you
can bring
mentioned
people
that
apart.
your goal has been towards nation building because you're right. Communication, even the most primitive communication, but of course, all the more now with telecom, communication and even the newer technologies, they really create means for people to transact with each other, to build relationships with each other. What can you say now about, of course, the prevalence of e-commerce and now AI is of course in the horizon. Fintech is also ruling the sphere now.
yeah. People are now. The more and more people using e-wallets nowadays. And you won't be surprised anymore if you go to a wet market and the tindera, you can pay her now using an e-wallet. It's widely being adopted now. E-commerce, it's affecting the way people shop, right? You do it via online, and even the retail shops have to reinvent themselves. Retail locations would have to keep that in mind. Internet information is now readily available. Just punch in and then a few keys, and then you now, and just even now AI, ChatGPT. Now, you don't even have to press keys anymore. You just have to ask, and you can even write essays for you. Or so that's it. It can enable you, it can help you, but it can also pull you down. If it does not, it should be a tool to help you learn, to keep or to maintain your passion for learning, and not be lazy. And when I look at the younger generation now, I think it's very challenging to be a student. Right? There's a lot of pressure because of social media. There's so much new information. There's so many new things that you need to learn, or you can learn, and you have to do it at a very fast pace. That puts a lot of pressure on people nowadays, or even students nowadays. And the challenge would be how to sift all that information, because you don't want to just be a storage for information. If you learn, you need to gain knowledge. You need to gain wisdom, not just information. Or else you just have the facts, the numbers, but not be able to use it.
The way I would describe it
in a
now
more meaningful manner.
Like the requirement now, in the past maybe rote memorization was important, but because now information is so available, it's more of like being a conductor, an orchestra conductor, and being able to choose and point and okay, it's your turn, okay, it's from here. So that's, I think, the main change that I see in how information needs to be, I guess, maximized or accessed. Because this is a La Salle podcast. So I have to bring up that we actually have a startup. If I'm not mistaken, they help Lasallians create their startups. So equipping them new parameters that you just mentioned, because of course it's very different now, and I think that's certainly a leg up for students here in La Salle, because I mean, not all institutions are as on the nose with all of these changes. I mean, I think that's also one of the benefits of a Lasallian education, because the institution tries its best to be as current as possible. And yun nga, one concrete example is that startup section, which is in Brother Andrew Gonzalez building, which is also where we're recording from.
That's correct. It's a great time to be an entrepreneur now. I mean, before to open a business, we need to have large capital or investment. But now it's easy to start small with the technology that's available. Yeah, and La Salle is really the perfect place where you can develop that entrepreneurial spirit. Yeah, La Salle has always been known to be a sort of a business school, right? So that's great that there are courses now and or even helping startups. Yeah.
I saw
Exciting times.
I saw some posters inside the startup section that said, "You need to have the spirit of a pirate and the skill of a Navy SEAL." So I thought, that's pretty cool. I'm gonna steal that.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's an excellent, I think,
yes.
motto. Give love with Lasallian Giving. Lasallian Giving is a new online donation facility that calls us to spread love for our Lasallian mission. Please visit the Lasallian Giving portal to donate via e-wallet or online banking, or go to any of our over-the-counter payment centers to support dlsu. Lasallian friends and alumni may donate any amount to the following projects and campaigns: scholarships for Lasallian Legacy Fund, sports, culture and arts, infrastructure and facilities, this podcast, and Santuario de La Salle. Leave a legacy, strengthen our animo. Give now at www.dlsu.edu.ph/give. And what do you see as different, from your generation of Lasallians to maybe the new ones now?
I think I believe that very much the same as long as the core values, the principles are the same. As I don't think that the older generation would have any clear advantage over the younger ones. I mean, I would even say that the younger ones are not better, but very well prepared to venture out into this new world that we have now, where there's so much technology, there's digital, there's business rules are being rewritten. It's now when as long as the values remain the same. The younger generation would have to go out in the market and be Christians in the workplace. I would have to say, because La Salle is a Christian school, provides Christian education. We need to be Christians in the workplace, in the community, in our homes, in our families, right? Not just Sunday Christians, but really live out the values, the principles that we hold dear.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it's an exciting time to be young now.
It is. They're digital natives, and it blows my mind whenever I realize that they were born in the 2000s. They were born in, immediately there was the internet. Immediately they had access. Immediately there's social media.
Yeah. And technologies can just come in and also die within the same, like, just listening to music. We had records before, then we had the Walkman during our time, right? And then there's now iPod, and then that's gone now, right? Before you used to, now it's Spotify. So, it's that fast wherein, a new technology can come in and, in that very same generation, that technology dies and, becomes obsolete, right? So, yeah, and to be able to not just keep up to it, but also seeing where it's headed. That's going to be, I guess, the most exciting part, especially for entrepreneurs, when you are able to be ahead of the curve. Yeah.
Out of curiosity, would you say there were many Lasallians in the industry, or?
Pay TV, broadcast, media. Well, yeah, quite a number. But you know what? It's funny. You don't really get to know that person is a Lasallian until you've gone into a deeper and even lengthier conversation with them, and then during the conversation, you just when that topic comes up, and then say, "Oh, you're also from La Salle," and then because we don't walk around, carrying a badge or announcing to everybody that I guess Lasallians are very down to earth, low key, and then when you find out that the other person's a Lasallian, then you suddenly saying, "Oh, that's why I really find this person immediately likable, or even
The rapport is easy.
rapport is there, and easy is not the word, but you get to work with them easily, and you like working with them, and yeah, so it's fun. And then you'd say, oh, that's why. Also from the
Yeah, because I ask it because some people say that the technology industry is still a people industry. If you think about it, of course, technology is the product, but everything that powers it would still be people. And I read your interview with CEO Magazine, and you said that you like to empower and enable, and that's your leadership style. Could you tell us more about that?
Oh, because I believe the success of any organization would be the team. I was fortunate to be able to, say, steer or lead, but we are all, each individual is a leader and a follower at the same time. So I believe in the principle of servant leadership. Looking at Cignal, how we performed during the lockdowns, it was really first by the grace of God that we were able to grow the business. We were able to double our subscriber base during that time. But really the hard work put in by everybody. You cannot be a solo act. And the credit should really go to the people who really worked hard, and I am part of the team, and I'm very fortunate to be part of that team in a leadership position, but still a team member. In TV5, when had a very good relationship with our employees union. I talked to the president of the union. I'd say that we're both employees. I'm just also an employee, so I understand
That's admirable.
the situation, and we have to work together to make this company grow, because we're both working here. So that's how I see things. That's why I'm there to enable, to help, to open or clear the path for people to be able to do their work well, and for them to be able to realize their potential. Maybe that goes also with being in a sales leadership position. The most well,
I think so.
yeah.
I think so. Yeah.
I get so much joy from seeing, say, my sales team or individuals going up the ladder when they get promoted, and when their lives get better. So that's a thrill for me. I get so much satisfaction from seeing people advance in their career, and again, fortunate that I was probably instrumental or part of that person's journey.
Thank you for that. I mean, having worked in corporate also in the past, I understand what you mean about sales really being the one that's more of the people, and it's true. Kailangan talaga pag sales ka, kaya mong makipagsabayan.
And you have to be friends with all departments.
Oo,
Kasi
talaga.
for you to be able to do your work well, for you to deliver the results, you need the help of everyone. So, yeah. And it's just, companies I've worked with, sales people would be there in front. And in most cases, they're in the limelight. They're given awards, they're given incentives, they're recognized for their performance, and that doesn't happen for the other departments. So the sales team would not be able to do anything without the support of finance, without the
Marketing.
marketing, coming up with the brilliant ideas, and say customer service to take care of the subscribers that we have. So it's really a team, and again, blessing. It's a blessing that when you're in sales, you're the one who is sent to trips abroad or given plaques or
Nice
trophies
trophies.
that you can bring home to your family, and your children will see it and say, "Oh, when I grow up, I want to be like my dad or my mom, because she has so many awards." So,
So Robert, when you walk walked into this setting earlier, you said, "Wow, we didn't have this when I was a student." Sorry if I have to quote you about that, but what's something that you went to remain unchanged about La Salle? Of course, we will always have new buildings, new libraries, new ways of teaching, enriching. But what's something that comes from your, I guess, experience of La Salle that you'd like current and future generations to also have?
The humility part, the being
Humility.
down to earth and reachable. Di ba yung term na di maabot? Kaya reachable eh. So, yeah, that kind of
humility.
trait that, Lasallian would go into any other organization or group or any just a gathering and, and be able to blend in. But at the same time, I'd like to see Lasallians to also be unique, to be set apart. That that when people see you, that there should be something that's different with you, whether it be your character, your integrity, your diligence, or again, I guess being also friendly and approachable, and those are the qualities that I think should still be there, and that should set you apart, so that people would want to know more about you, and then know your background, and those are the things
great.
that are important for me. That you, as a Christian, you are set apart. You cannot be just like everybody else, right? It has to be your integrity, your character should be evident, clearly evident, without you having to.
And that's true
to
because
say something, or is your actions should show that.
in another episode of this podcast series, we interviewed Ben and Ben, who is the biggest musical act in the country right now. And when you said humility, immediately I thought of them, because these are kids who have 1 billion streams on Spotify, and yet they were so kind and so down to earth, self-effacing. So nakakatuwa, and very, lalo nakaka-proud na Lasal sila, because mababait sila.
I listened to them. I didn't even know that they were from Lasal.
They are engineering.
Oh.
Para yung kambal, the leads are
Okay.
Lasallian. Yeah.
Okay.
And they have very vivid memories of being in Miguel Building.
I should tell my son. My son Gabby, David, when he goes to Lasallian, I should tell him that, because he's also into singing.
Oh,
So,
okay.
yeah.
Yes.
I should tell him that.
They really shared stories about crying over their math exam.
Engineering kasi, di ba?
Oo, kasi mahirap. Of course, the engineering.
I was talking to Dean
Yeah.
a while ago. Sabi ko, yung math ngayon for engineering, puro letters. Wala mo yung numbers. What kind of math is this?
Puro letters. Hindi na siya calculus na talaga. On a more sentimental note, what Lasallian values have you carried throughout your life? That, aside from humility, of course, and I feel that also evident.
Not humility, because the moment you say you're humble, you're not.
That's right. Totoo yun, no?
Yeah. Anyway, faith
Faith.
in Christ. I grew up, since early childhood with Christian education, so that served as a good foundation. But it was in my 30s. It went beyond just that Christian education, but really getting to know the Jesus Christ of the Bible. So, not the Jesus that people tell you about, or what you've heard, but Jesus as He has revealed Himself through His Word. So, faith in Christ was the most important core value. And what's amazing is that the people who invited me to my first Bible study, where I came to know Christ, were also graduates from dlsu.
Oh.
So that's the most important core value that, I hold dear, and I hope that future generations would cling on to and keep within themselves. There's a zeal for service. I mentioned a while ago that you should be servant leaders. You're not the boss. You're a leader, not the boss. So, and that really passion and zeal for serving God, serving others. I'll tell you about Signal. When we started with Signal, we developed a distribution network across the country nationwide because we were offering satellite TV. And by doing that, we were able to provide a strong and stable livelihood to thousands of people, from distributors to dealers to installers to agents, and get to talk to them. And then they'd say that because of this business, I was able to build a house, send my kids to school. And before they really, some of them really had nothing. So started from an installer and then became an agent, a dealer. So, and I realized that to serve God, it doesn't necessarily mean that you'd be in a church or you'd have to be wearing a certain
habit,
uniform or something, or it can you can serve God and others through through the work that you have. That we were able to provide those opportunities and help a lot of people, families, and that's a kind of service that that we can do while we are doing our work. Because we could have opted for another kind of distribution network that would not need any of them and just do it on our own, but that would not be sharing with more people with the blessings and the gains of the business. So that's the zeal for service, and it's not showy, flashy. It doesn't, it's just what you do every day. And again, the third value of La Salle is community for mission, or community in mission. So I guess when you do serve others, you serve God. It's you can't do it alone. You don't do it just by yourself. And then you want to bring as many people to get to know Jesus Christ. So, always in a community, always, it doesn't matter how big that community is, it can be just a small group of people, like 5 people that you lead in a Bible study or something like that. But again, in a community. So, I did not have the words of the core values of La Salle, but I realized that, maybe because of the kind of education, development, training, then it just comes out, and just like the terms that we have now for mental health and all these other things, then that's so that's faith. Also, that's zeal.
That before. You were applying that before.
Even before you knew the words, right?
Hala, I didn't get to ask Mala about your next chapter.
Oh,
do you want to talk about it?
Hindi naman siguro important. Siguro okay na. Next chapter. Actually, yung question nga, di ba? Yung sa akin, this chapter is new for me and exciting. Kasi I did early retirement. 56 years old. Normally, people will retire at 60, can be extended 65. I did early retirement. I realized, 3-4 years na lang naman, retirement age na eh. Why do I have to... We were talking a while ago, do I want to go back to line to work? Maybe not eh. I don't want to go back to yung line, yung merong pressure na ganon. Maybe be a consultant na lang siguro. We're trying to develop this farm sa Manila, Laguna. Baka maging farmer na lang ako.
Hey, I support that.
Kasi I want to to have food sufficiency. Kasi it's important. At the end of the day, what's important? Water, food. And I want that for my family. I want it to be secure. Ayun.
Where in Laguna?
Sa Pangil, Laguna.
And I'm glad that you mentioned food because that's the one thing that cannot be replaced by AI.
Oo.
One of the
you can
few
eat technology.
things. So,
2 things are important, di ba? Food, energy. Yan. Well, food, water. And yan. So, ganun. So, I still don't know what... I tried to answer that question. I still don't know what the next chapters will contain. I don't know. Ang ano ko lang, kasi, di ba, for me kasi, ang life natin is like a book. Diba? There's certain chapters. Sometimes you go through a crisis, you go through problems. Pero hindi pa naman tapos yung book mo eh. Diba? Still being written. You have, hopefully, many more chapters. Diba?
And
So,
you
yun.
steered a company and led it to success during the pandemic. That's saying a lot.
Oh, thank you, thank you, thank you. Oh, grabe nun. Grabe yun, grabe.
Parang panaginip, no?
Pero ang galing nga, the most... Kaya nga si God lang talaga eh. Kasi yung... Imagine yung lockdown, dun pa nag-double yung signal. Tapos si TV5 tumaas. Hindi pwede sabihin, hindi pwedeng, ano eh, hindi ako yun eh. Kasi sabi ko, kahit sometimes insurmountable, akala mo insurmountable, but you know, something happens and then you can only credit it to God. Ayun, so...
You have 2 boys or
3.
3 boys? Okay,
Yeah.
okay.
One is sophomore, one is incoming grade 12 sa Lasalle, Green Hills. And then third is 9 years old. Yun yung 9 kasi yun yung sabi ng wife ko, last call. So yun, so, yun humabol pa. Ayun, so yeah, sabi ko nga kay Edwin, sana makapasok ng Lasalle yung second ko. Yung first ko kasi nag-UPLB eh. Kasi agriculture yung course niya. Sabi ko, makapasok sa yung wife ko si Ateneo eh. So dapat Lasalle.
And thank you for that. Definitely, I can wrap up by saying that what sets Lasallian leadership apart from others is that spirit of creating a rising tide and how it lifts all boats.
Oh, that's
It sounds,
I should use that in one of my conversations with people.
I've heard it.
Yeah, creating a
from
rising tide.
several Lasallians. We have heard from a Lasallian leader, Mr. Robert Galang, who most recently was the president and CEO of Cignal and TV5, and prior to that was in leadership roles all across the telco industry. So thank you so much, Sir Robert,
Oh, it was my pleasure.
for this very insightful interview.
Thank you, Mariel. I really enjoyed this conversation, and yeah, I hope that it adds value to the lives of the people who would watch and listen to this podcast.
Fingers crossed.
Oh.
Thank you so much,
Thank
Sir
you,
Robert.
thank you,
That
thank
was
you.
fun.
It was my pleasure. It was my pleasure,
our
Mariel.
pleasure also.
Ang galing mo mag-interview din.
Ay, salamat.
You made me feel very comfortable.
Give love with Lasallian Giving. Lasallian Giving is a new online donation facility that calls us to spread love for our Lasallian mission. Please visit the Lasallian Giving portal to donate via e-wallet or online banking, or go to any of our over-the-counter payment centers to support DLSU. Lasallian friends and alumni may donate any amount to the following projects and campaigns: scholarships for Lasallian Legacy Fund, sports, culture and arts, infrastructure and facilities, this podcast, and Santuario de La Salle. Leave a legacy, strengthen our animo. Give now at www.dlsu.edu.ph/give.